All right, here we go. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. Regular season kickoff coming up right around the corner. Cannot wait for it. And on today's show, we'll preview this game against the Detroit Lions. But first, have to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's program, Mint Mobile. Unlimited talk and text, America's largest 5G network, and the best deal. Cell phone plans starting as low as $15 per month. If you plug in that link down below, mintmobile.com/chatsports. We'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. So, folks, Eagles country, fly Eagles fly. The season is about to be here, and on today's show, we will cover Philadelphia Eagles injury report. I'll give you my keys to an Eagles win over the Lions and also what to watch out for. This game gonna go down Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan, Sunday afternoon in that 1 o'clock window. And the Eagles, this line has gone down a little bit. They're only 4-point favorites right now. And we know, especially as evidenced by the betting statistics that we'll break down in a couple of minutes, that during Week 1 NFL action, some crazy upsets can happen. And right now, the Eagles, only 4-point favorites. Maybe that's some momentum for the Lions coming off that Hard Knocks appearance, but I actually think this team is going to be very, very competitive this year like they were last year and improve on their win total from 2021 under Dan Campbell. The over-under set for 49. So if you want to bet on the game, there is your betting information. Before we officially start previewing this matchup between the Birds and the Lions, two teams with really high expectations. The Eagles maybe making a run to the Super Bowl. The Lions, new hope that this current regime is it and can lead them in the right direction. Predict the score for me in the comment section. Let me know who wins and then give me a numerical score down below. We begin with the Eagles injury report, and there's some good news on this front because as we're recording this on Thursday, on Wednesday, everybody on the Eagles roster did participate in practice. Now, some people were full participants, other guys limited action. As for Miles Sanders, looks as though he's going to be a full go coming off that hamstring injury, full participant in practice on Wednesday. Javon Hargrave with that toe is limited, so that's pretty important moving forward because last year had a career year in the trenches at defensive tackle in Jonathan Gannon's defense. Derek Barnett also limited in practice because of an injury to his ribs, and then Josiah Scott also limited with a hamstring ailment as well. But obviously, when you look at the Eagles injury report here, the most notable name on it and the most marquee player on the offensive side of the ball on this injury report is Miles Sanders. He's entering a critical year, final year of his rookie contract, and he has to have a big year if he wants to get paid. And barring any setbacks, it looks as though the former draft pick out of Penn State will play. He tweaked his hamstring, and he addressed this with the media on Thursday and said, look, I just needed a little bit of rest. I didn't want to push it to further that injury. I should be ready to go, and he's ready to get after it against the Lions with this Eagles rushing attack, which last year was one of the best in the National Football League. Another storyline that we definitely want to monitor with this game, with the Lions having a pretty good pass rush led by Aiden Hutchinson, who was drafted out of Michigan. Life without Andre Dillard has to go on as Dillard was officially put on IR this week. Now, Lane Johnson, according to offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland, the best in the league, he said that Lane Johnson can play left tackle if he needs to, but he probably won't. We'll keep him in his comfort zone at right tackle. As for the guys getting reps behind Andre Dillard, with him not playing for at least the first month of the year, Jack Driscoll as well as Josh Sills can also fill in at left tackle. Now let's pivot to our keys to the game and the keys for a Philadelphia Eagles win to begin the season at 1-0. Really, the biggest storyline for the Eagles in this matchup and throughout this entire season is Jalen Hurts. He really has to take that next step as a passer, and the Eagles are going to go as far this year, in my opinion, as Jalen Hurts will take them. Now, you look at his numbers from last year. The completion percentage was below league average at just north of 61%. He only threw for 3,100 plus yards, 16 touchdowns, not great by any means, but 9 interceptions, not bad considering the passing attempts, and you have to factor in that Jalen Hurts is a very good dual threat and running quarterback. He did add several touchdowns on the ground, which makes that touchdown-interception ratio look a little bit better in reality. And just some quick thoughts on Jalen Hurts. Going into a critical year for him, he has a great opportunity at hand. If Jalen Hurts plays well, he leads the Eagles to the playoffs, an NFC East crown, and they make a potentially deep run in the playoffs, he can earn the bag and lock down that future role as a starting quarterback for this franchise. If he doesn't play well and he flounders, he'll prove more to be a backup in this league. But if he's able to take that leap and take that next step and progress as a passer, look out, because this Eagles offense in 2022 could be a problem for opposing defenses in this league. What do you think, though? Let me know in the comment section. Sound off. Join the conversation down below. Is Jalen Hurts the future quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles? Give me an F for he's the future, B for more so he's the backup. Chime in and let me know. As I mentioned off the top of the show, Philadelphia Eagles now is sponsored by Mint Mobile. On America's largest 5G network, you get unlimited talk and text. You can switch your service between 5G and 4G seamlessly. And one of the cool features about Mint Mobile, you don't have to change your physical cell phone. You don't have to change your cell phone number. And in a period and a day of age where everybody's trying to cut costs and save money during inflation, these cell phone plans begin as low as just $15 per month. If you want to start saving money today and get a reliable and affordable cell phone plan, Mint Mobile is where it's at. MintMobile.com/chatsports. Their service, it goes East Coast to West Coast, north and south, just like Darius Slay in coverage. Start saving money today. We'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. More keys to the game as we progress here in our preview against the Lions. I'm looking for Jalen Hurts to take that progression as a passer, but it's the pass game as a whole going to evolve after the trade acquisition on NFL draft night of A.J. Brown, who's one of the more dynamic wide receivers in the NFL. His numbers in 2021, not as good as what he did in 2020 when he surpassed that 1,000-yard threshold, but keep in mind that he was playing with Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill, while he was one of the more accurate quarterbacks last year, he is not elite by any measure. 63 catches last year for A.J. Brown, a couple of monster performances, 869 yards, 5 touchdowns, average yards per catch at just shy of 14. And I think with a guy like A.J. Brown, you team him up with Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, with this really good offensive line and a really good ground game, he can make this offense more versatile, deeper, and a lot more dangerous, because the Eagles' passing game last year was mediocre to lackluster, depending on the numbers that you look at. Philadelphia, 25th in completion percentage in the NFL, 14th in yards per pass attempt. Jalen Hurts was 41st in the league in completion rate, so obviously that includes a lot of backups as well. And his last 6 games, he didn't light the league on fire. 4 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. And I think A.J. Brown, given his size, the ability to pick up yards after the catch, to win some of those 50-50 balls, it should help out in theory. You know, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, open up some of those seam balls for Dallas Goedert as well. That's the type of impact player that Howie Roseman saw in A.J. Brown. That's why they made the trade for him. And throughout his career, my gosh, A.J. Brown has been a walking human highlight reel. So with that, I do want to ask you another one of our poll questions for today's show. Who has more receiving yards in 2022? Will it be A.J. Brown? Will it be Devontae Smith? Competition brings the best out of everybody. I already know these two players here to my right, they're going to be pushing one another this upcoming season. Another key to the game, got to run behind the horses. This Eagles offensive line, one of the most talented, one of the deepest, and has some of the more premier offensive linemen in the NFL. And this is really the backbone of this football team. The same could be said for last year as well. When the Eagles are able to get that ground game established, that's when Jalen Hurts falls into his comfort zone. And that's when the Eagles are a really difficult team to go up against. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, who Jeff Stoutland said today is the most improved offensive lineman on this team, which is really high praise considering I thought Dickerson, coming out of Alabama off that torn ACL, was good as a rookie last year. Jason Kelce is a future Hall of Famer. Isaac Seumalo is criminally underrated. And Lane Johnson is probably the best right tackle in the sport. And with the Eagles going up against the Lions, it's important to begin this game in proper fashion, to establish an early lead, to jump and step on the throats of the Detroit Lions so that they can't roar at Ford Field in Detroit. Because when the Eagles are ahead, they're a dominant team. And they're one of the more difficult teams to stop. It's like that bowling ball rolling downhill. Once it gets moving, it ain't going to stop. And that's what this offensive line is able to do. And a trend to kind of watch out for on Sunday is where the Eagles run the football with this offensive line that is very stout. You look at yards per carry by direction last year, and this is really interesting in a couple of ways because going off right tackle with Lane Johnson playing there, the Eagles actually averaged the least yards per carry as compared to everywhere else where they ran on the field. So coming off left tackle, Jordan Mailata, 5.5. To the left perimeter, 6 yards per carry. Running right behind Jason Kelce, 4 yards per pop. Off the right guard, 3.5. And off Lane Johnson, 3.9. So that was a little bit of a weakness that I'm sure the Lions are going to try to pit up against. But then going off the right edge, 5.5 yards per carry. So when you're watching this game on Sunday, that right there, a trend from Warren Sharp in his preview for 2022 to certainly keep an eye on. And then really what I want to focus on next, the Eagles are the better team than the Detroit Lions. There's no way that they should lose. Now, as we're about to show you, some crazy things happen in week 1, and upsets often take place. How do you avoid an upset taking place to start your season on a sour note? Avoid dumb turnovers that come at inopportune times, and you can't commit costly mistakes, whether it be turning the pill over or bad penalties, coverage breakdowns, missing an A.J. Brown on a deep ball, because that equals upset city. And last year in week 1, it was upset city. We take a look at our chat stats for today's show. In 2021, NFL underdogs won 37% of games straight up, the highest rate since 2015. Home field advantage? Yeah, not really. And week 1 of last year was historic by underdogs. 12 covers were the most by week 1 underdogs in the Super Bowl era, and 9 outright wins tied for the most over that stretch. There are 10 home dogs this week, including the Detroit Lions. And the Lions, as I said a little bit earlier, are a really feisty team, backing up the identity of head coach Dan Campbell, who in his introductory press conference last year, it was made famous because he said, when it comes down to our opponents, we want to bite their kneecaps off. And in all seriousness, though, we saw in Hard Knocks the Lions are kind of living off of that philosophy. And last year, they surprised a lot of people. Now, they only won 3 games, but they were 2-6 in one-score games, 1-4 in games decided by a field goal or less. They win a couple of those games. The trajectory of their season is different. And with an improved team, some of those losses could end up being wins. And could it be a win against the Philadelphia Eagles? A big key for the Eagles to not allow that to happen, you got to get after Jared Goff. And by the way, I do think the Eagles win this football game 28-24. I think it's going to be a lot closer than it was last year. But going back to that point of Jared Goff with this defensive line that's expected to be good, an improved linebacking core, and the secondary that could feast, the Lions were not a good passing football team last year. 10th in completion percentage rate, 17th in touchdowns thrown, 27th in yards per attempt, as Jared Goff is the check down king, and 30th in yards per completion. So what does that tell you, folks? If you're not into deep dive numbers or analytics, Jared Goff doesn't push the ball downfield, and that lies into the strengths of this Eagles defense. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this Eagles secondary can match up with this linebacking core and defensive line that I think could be among some of the best position groups in the NFL. Darius Slay is a bona fide corner number 1 coming off a Pro Bowl season. James Bradbury is a great number 2. He's not a number 1. He's a great number 2, though. Avonte Maddox is paid as one of the highest paid nickels in the league. There's a good reason for that. And then you shift to that safety spot. Do I have some concerns about C.D. Deuce, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, considering that he's played more than 1,000 snaps in his career at nickel, but only 80 at that safety spot? For sure. Marcus Epps, still somewhat of an unproven commodity. And then you have Kayvon Wallace and Reed Blankenship as the backup. So that right there, probably the biggest concern on this football team. But in terms of starters, this Eagles team, they have a great opportunity at hand to really make this a magical season in the city of brotherly love. So before we get on out of here, do want to ask you for your predictions for Sunday's game. Who you going with? PHI for the Birds, DET for the Detroit Lions. Let me know in the comment section. And on Sunday afternoon, not going to be doing a watch party for week 1. I will be doing a post-game show. So that's why you subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications. Therefore, when we push out that post-game show, you will be notified. As always, appreciate all of you for tuning into the show. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and fly, Eagles, fly.